Hey, welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm gonna talk about top 5
best wildlife camera.
Starting at number 5.
OM System Olympus. Shooting wildlife on a budget can be tricky, considering how quickly the cost of zoom and telephoto lenses can add up. If you're on a tighter budget, the Olympus OMD EM10 Mark IV is a fantastic entry-level choice for wildlife photography. Like the OM System OM1, it's an MFT camera, so there's a well-established stable of lenses to choose from, and they're typically smaller and give you longer equivalent focal lengths, which is good for capturing far-off subjects. Beyond that, the camera is lightweight and portable, and it's one of the few budget cameras to feature 5-axis in-body image stabilization, which will help stabilize handheld shots taken at longer focal lengths. It can also shoot at up to 15 frames per second with its e-shutter in silent mode, so you can fire off extended bursts without scaring away more skittish animals. Add in a solid battery life and a decent AF system, and this little camera is hard to beat for beginners or wildlife photographers on a budget.
Coming at number 4.
Canon DSLR camera. As far as mid-range options go, the Canon EOS 90D is well worth considering. Like the Canon EOS R7, it has a higher resolution sensor than most APS-C cameras, giving you more leeway to crop your photos. It can also shoot at a respectable 11 frames per second burst rate, though that drops to 7 FPS when using continuous tracking AF. Although its autofocus system isn't as fast as the autofocus on newer, mirrorless alternatives, it still tracks moving subjects well overall. The biggest trade-off is that you don't get IBIS for steadier handheld shots. It also doesn't have the largest image buffer, which can slow you down when shooting extended bursts. That said, Canon's EF/EFS mount includes some excellent lenses, and they won't run you as much as full-frame mirrorless options. On top of that, the camera feels well-built, is weather-sealed, and has comfortable ergonomics, making for an excellent all-around shooting experience.
At number 3.
Canon EOS R7. While the OM System OM1 is hard to beat if you need something rugged and compact, an APS-C option like the Canon EOS R7 has its own advantages and comes at a lower price point. With a remarkably quick 15 frames per second mechanical burst rate and a highly sophisticated autofocus system, the R7 is tailor-made for wildlife shooters. It has a very solid battery life, as well, and feels great in the hand. It also has a fantastic IBIS system for steadier handheld shots. Telephoto lenses for the R7 are generally less portable than micro four thirds options. However, they're still typically smaller than full-frame alternatives with equivalent fields of view, allowing you to shoot far-off subjects without too much bulk. Ultimately, if you don't need the portability of a micro four thirds kit, this is one of the best cameras for birding and wildlife at its price point. The Sony Alpha 6700 is another fantastic upper mid-range choice, with one of the best AF systems on the market and a very wide range of native and third-party lens options. However, it has worse ergonomics, a smaller viewfinder, and a slower max burst rate.
Number 2 of my list.
Canon EOS R6. For those who do a lot of wildlife photography at dusk or dawn, a full-frame camera is a great choice, especially if you don't mind carrying a bulkier kit. The Canon EOS R6 Mark II is one of the best nature photography cameras if you need the low-light advantage of a full-frame sensor. It does a fantastic job managing noise in low light and features a best-in-class autofocus system that can reliably track moving subjects even in trickier lighting conditions. Beyond that, it checks all the boxes for wildlife photography, with burst shooting at up to almost 40 frames per second when using the e-shutter or up to 12 frames per second with the mechanical shutter. Plus, it has an excellent in-body image stabilization system and a great battery life. The RF mount still has a relatively limited selection of lenses, though you can always adapt older EF lenses. The Nikon Z6 II is another excellent full-frame option if you're looking for a slightly cheaper camera body. It has a quick mechanical burst rate and amazing ergonomics, though its autofocus isn't quite as reliable as the AF on the R6 Mark II.
And number 1.
OM System OM. The OM System OM1 is the best camera for nature photography that we've tested. Going with a micro 4/3 MFT camera like this has a few benefits for wildlife photography, notably a more portable size and fantastic image stabilization. Compared to full-frame models like the Canon EOS R6 Mark II below, you can use physically smaller lenses to get longer equivalent focal lengths, meaning you'll have a more compact kit even when using telephoto lenses to photograph far-off wildlife like birds. On top of that, the OM1's 5-axis in-body image stabilization (IBIS) works incredibly well with stabilized lenses to ensure you get steady shots at longer focal lengths. The camera also has a quick burst rate, including a pre-burst pro capture mode that ensures you won't miss a critical moment. Plus, it's rugged and compact, with a weather-sealed body and excellent ergonomics. It has a solid battery life for a mirrorless camera, too. The biggest downside is that its AF tracking isn't the most reliable, so it may not be the best choice for very fast-moving subjects. If autofocus tracking is a priority, consider the Fujifilm X-H2S. Its AF is a bit more effective than the OM system, and its stacked sensor is well suited to quick subjects, but it's more expensive and less portable.
Check out this video description for latest price and more informations. Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe and stay tuned.